Day number 98, read the Bible in a year. 1 Samuel chapter 1, 2, and 3. Chapter 1. Now there was a certain man of Ramathaim, Zophim, of the hill country of Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, and the son of Jeroam, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zup, an Ephraimite. He had 2 wives. The name of one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. This man went up out of his city from year to year to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of armies in Shiloh. The 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, priests to the Lord, were there. When the day came that Elkanah sacrificed, he gave portions to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters, but he gave a double portion to Hannah, for he loved Hannah. But the Lord had shut up her womb. Her rival provoked her severely to irritate her, because the Lord had shut up her womb. So, year by year, when she went up to the Lord's house, her rival provoked her. Therefore she wept and didn't eat. Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why don't you eat? Why is your heart grieved? Am I not better to you than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up after they had finished eating, drinking, and in Shiloh. And Eli the priest was sitting on his seat by the doorpost of the Lord's temple. She was in bitterness of soul and prayed to the Lord. Weeping bitterly, she vowed a vow and said, Lord of armies, if you will indeed look at the affliction of your servant and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a boy, then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come on his head. As she continued praying before the Lord, Eli saw her mouth. Now Hannah spoke in her heart, and only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she was drunk. Eli said to her, How long will you be drunk? Get rid of wine. Hannah answered, No, my lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. I have not been drinking wine or strong drink, but I poured out my soul before the Lord. Don't consider your servant a wicked woman, for I have been speaking out of the abundance of my complaint and my provocation. Then Eli answered, Go in peace, and may the God of Israel grant your petition that you have asked of him. She said, Let your servant find favor in your sight. So the woman went her way and ate, and her facial expression wasn't sad anymore. They rose up in the morning early and worshipped the Lord, then returned and came to their house in Ramah. Then Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. When the time had come, Hannah conceived, and she bore a son, and she named him Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. The man, Elkanah, and all his house went up to offer to the Lord the yearly sacrifice and his vow, but Hannah didn't go up, for she had said to her husband, Not until the child is weaned. Then I will bring him, that he may appear before the Lord, and stay there forever. Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Do what seems good to you. Wait until you have weaned him, only may the Lord establish his word. So the woman waited, nursed her son until she weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her, with 3 bulls, and 1 ephah of meal, and a container of wine, and brought him to the Lord's house in Shiloh. The child was young. They killed the bull, and brought the child to Eli, and she said, My lord, as your soul lives, my lord, I am the woman who stood by you here praying to the Lord. I prayed for this child, and the Lord has given me my petition, which I asked of him. Therefore, I have also given him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is given to the Lord. He worshipped the Lord there.
1 Samuel 2. Hannah prayed and said, My heart exalts in the Lord. My horn is exalted in the Lord. My mouth is enlarged over my enemies because I rejoice in your salvation. There is no one as holy as the Lord, for there is no one besides you, nor is there any rock like our God. Don't keep talking so exceedingly proudly. Don't let arrogance come out of your mouth. For the Lord is a God of knowledge. By him actions are weighed. The bows of the mighty men are broken. Those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full have hired themselves out for bread. Those who are hungry are satisfied. Yes, the barren has borne 7. She who has many children languishes. The Lord kills and makes alive. He brings down to Sheol and brings up. The Lord makes poor and makes rich. He brings low. He also lifts up. He raises up the poor out of the dust. He lifts up the needy from the dunghill to make them sit with princes and inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's. He has set the world on them. He will keep the feet of his holy ones. But the wicked will be put to silence in darkness, for no man will prevail by strength. Those who strive with the Lord shall be broken to pieces. He will thunder against them in the sky. The Lord will judge the ends of the earth. He will give strength to his king and exalt the horn of his anointed. Elkanah went to Ramah to his house. The child served the Lord before Eli the priest. Now the sons of Eli were wicked men. They didn't know the Lord. The custom of the priests with the people was that when anyone offered a sacrifice, the priest's servant came while the meat was boiling, with a fork of 3 teeth in his hand, and he stabbed it into the pan or kettle or cauldron or pot. The priest took all that the fork brought up for himself. They did this to all the Israelites who came there to Shiloh. Before they burnt the fat, the priest's servant came and said to the man who sacrificed, "Give meat to roast for the priest, for he will not accept boiled meat from you, but raw." If the man said to him, "Let the fat be burnt first, and then take as much as your soul desires," then he would say, "No, but you shall give it to me now, and if not, I will take it by force." The sin of the young men was very great before the Lord, for the men despised the Lord's offering. But Samuel ministered before the Lord, being a child, clothed with a linen ephod. Moreover, his mom made him a little robe and brought it to him from year to year when she came up with her husband to offer the yearly sacrifice. Eli blessed Elkanah and his wife and said, "May the Lord give you offspring from this woman for the petition which was asked of the Lord." Then they went to their own home. The Lord visited Hannah, and she conceived and bore 3 sons and 2 daughters. The child Samuel grew before the Lord. Now Eli was very old, and he heard all that his sons did to all Israel, and how that they slept with the women who served at the door of the tent of meeting. He said to them, "Why do you do such things? For I hear of your evil dealings from all these people. No, my sons, for it is not a good report that I hear. You make the Lord's people disobey. If one man sins against another, God will judge him. But if a man sins against the Lord, who will intercede for him?" Notwithstanding, they didn't listen to the voice of their father, because the Lord intended to kill them. The child Samuel grew on and increased in favor both with the Lord and also with men. A man of God came to Eli and said to him, "The Lord says, did I reveal myself to the house of your father when they were in Egypt in bondage to Pharaoh's house? Didn't I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to go up to my altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? Didn't I give to the house of your father all the offerings of the children of Israel made by fire? Why do you kick at my sacrifice and at my offering, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honor your sons above me, to make yourself fat with the best of all the offerings of Israel, my people? Therefore the Lord, the God of Israel, says, I said indeed that your house and the house of your father should walk before me forever. But now the Lord says, far be it from me For those who honor me, I will honor, and those who despise me will be cursed. The days come that I will cut off your arm and the arm of your father's house, that there will not be an old man in your house. You will see the affliction of my habitation and all the wealth which I will give Israel. There shall not be an old man in your house forever. The man of yours whom I don't cut off from my altar will consume your eyes and grieve your heart. All the increase of your house will die in the flower of their age. This will be the sign to you that it will come on your two sons, on Hophni and Phinehas. In one day they will both die. I will raise up a faithful priest for myself, who will do according to that which is in my heart and in my mind. I will build him a sure house. He will walk before my anointed forever. It will happen that everyone who is left in your house will come and bow down to him for a piece of silver and a loaf of bread, and will say, Please, put me into one of the priest's offices, that I may eat a morsel of bread. 1 Samuel 3. The child Samuel ministered to the Lord before Eli. The Lord's word was rare in those days. There were not many visions then. At that time when Eli was laid down in his place, now his eyes had begun to grow dim so that he could not see, and God's lamp hadn't yet gone out, and Samuel had laid down in the Lord's temple where God's ark was. The Lord called Samuel. He said, Here I am. He ran to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. He said, I didn't call you. Lie down again. He went and lay down. The Lord called yet again, Samuel. Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. He answered, I didn't call, my son. Lie down again. Now Samuel didn't yet know the Lord, neither was the Lord's word yet revealed to him. The Lord called Samuel again the third time. He arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for you called me. Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Therefore Eli said to Samuel, Go, lie down, it shall be, if he calls you, that you shall say, Speak, Lord, for your servant hears. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. The Lord came and stood and called, as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel said, Speak, for your servant hears. The Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone who hears it will tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all that I have spoken concerning his house, from the beginning even to the end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knew, because his sons brought a curse on themselves, and he didn't restrain them. Therefore I have sworn to the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be removed with sacrifice or offering forever. Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of the Lord's house. Samuel was afraid to show Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel and said, Samuel, my son. He said, Here I am. He said, What is the thing that he has spoken to you? Please don't hide it from me. God do so to you, and more also, if you hide anything from me of all the things that he spoke to you. Samuel told him every bit and hid nothing from him. He said, It is the Lord. Let him do what seems good to him. Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and none of his words fall to the ground. Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and let none of his words fall to the ground. All Israel from Dan even to Beersheba knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord. The Lord appeared again in Shiloh, for the Lord revealed himself to Samuel in Shiloh by the Lord's word.
Well, we're starting to see a change in the books that we're reading. From Judges, where things kind of went off the rails with God's people, And then we see Hannah, Ruth, and Boaz, and a redeeming story, if you could put it that way. And I think we're seeing God move here in the people of Israel right now.
Well, you see what happened with Hannah. She has the other wife of her husband mocking her because she's unable to conceive. And that was a huge thing in that time. It meant, first of all, having someone who was going to be an offspring and someone who would inherit different wealth and blessings in that time period. So it was really important for them to be able to have children. And it was important for how they felt about themselves, important for their state of mind, important for their heart and their soul. And she wanted a son. She wanted a son or a daughter. She wanted children. And so she was praying so much. Hannah was praying so much that she was mumbling. And the priest thought that she was drunk and said, you better, I have some advice for you. I think you should stay away from the strong drink because, you're drunk. You're mumbling. You're not in your right mind. He didn't realize that she was praying and that she was grieving and she was just calling out to God. And she's like, no, I'm not drinking. I'm praying. And then he prophesied, he prayed for her that day.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see a shift in a storyline here, and I'm excited to find out what's going to happen. But I think Hannah, her faithfulness to God and God's commands carried on to her son Samuel. He grew up in the house of the Lord, but I think the commitment and the desire to follow God on Hannah's part would have had a lasting impact on Samuel's heart.
Yeah, we see the heart of Hannah, and God had he had something greater in mind. He not only heard her prayers, but he saw her heart.
Yeah.
And he had a great plan for Hannah, which she didn't know at that point. She just was being faithful in the situation. She wasn't rebelling against the other person. She wasn't taking it into her own hands. She 100% was just taking it up to God and being humble and a servant and just being really a righteous woman in the middle of a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
She couldn't have children and she was being mocked by, somebody who was considered her rival. Yet she didn't retaliate. She was righteous during that situation.
Yeah. And I think I wouldn't want to be the priest Eli at this point. Knowing that his sons were committing these heinous acts against God. Against the people, yes, but just they were not showing the reverence or the respect due to God in the sacrifice, and he covered it over.
He didn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And, when I look at that, I just couldn't help but think about how we're called, when we become disciples, we're called the priests of God, and how we have a responsibility. Nothing's changed. When we see people committing, who are supposed to be servants of God, committing heinous things around us or committing sin, if we don't deal with it, if we just kind of turn our eyes, it's not only them that are held responsible, but we're also held responsible. God is calling us to be righteous, but to also call out those who are claiming to be followers of his. Sure. Because it's like laughing in God's face, and it's going to turn people away from God if they see people living a hypocritical life.
Yeah, it's interesting because God's making a shift here, and there's a prophecy about how this priest would rise up and lead his people and protect his people. And I think he was showing or pointing out the fact that the Israelite priesthood or the Levitical priesthood is not going to be lasting. But God is putting his spirit into Samuel. It says Samuel raised up to be a man of God and was a prophet of God. I think God is moving here, and we need to stop and sit back, I think, in our lives today even, and look to see God moving.
Yeah, his sons were supposed to be following in his footsteps. They were supposed to be priests in the future. And he's like, no, it's not happening anymore. Enough is enough. I'm going to be re-changing. I'm going to be changing some things here.
Yeah.
And refocusing, and he put his spirit. We're going to see something coming up here, but we can see that he's calling somebody else. He's calling Samuel.
Yeah.
And he's speaking to Samuel, and Samuel is there, ready to be obedient 100%, like his mother, to God.
So true. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.